What's going on, everybody? I am BirdDog John. Thanks for joining us today, and we are going to kick things off here. It is 1 a.m. in Melbourne right now, and that is exactly where I am. Without any further ado, I'd like to welcome Robbie to the show. What's going on, man? All right, let's see. Hey, what's going on, Judson?
Hey, thanks for having me.
I do much more. We are joined with BirdDog Ian, who is at the Capture Summit over in Atlanta. So how's it going, man?
Hot and sweaty.
That's the most important question that our team can ask. Why are you needing this camera?
Now, I haven't tested this thing since it got here. This is something that I'm really excited that NDI did. That's cool. Obviously, there are lots of flavors here, but well, it is that time again, everybody. Hope you are doing well. My name is BirdDog John, and I am back in action.
In those scenarios,
Yep.
It's good to neuralize the cameras. You guys know that best.
Very straightforward. Plug it in, go to the web UI, link the source, walk away. You know, like super simple. I keep looking over at the chat, and I keep seeing you are full of it. Tasty, spicy meat snacks. Covered in flavor. I mean, you can't go wrong. So what's going on? We've got a handful of folks here in the chat, and I really appreciate that. What's up, mate? Hey, Warren, how are you? Appreciate it. Hey, Robbie, how's it going, man? We were just talking about you. What's going on, Tom? Ahoy. How is it going? What's going on, Go Web? Good to see you again. Thanks for hanging out with us again today. Appreciate that. Feel like I'm in this video more than anyone but John. It's true, NetApp. You are, I'm going to cut this up and put this in the next intro. What's going on, everybody? Hopefully you can hear me. Not entirely sure if you can or can't, so let me see if that is happening. I know I'm going to have audio issues here today. Predicted. All right, let's try this. Hey, what's going on? Yes, every time you change up your studio, it's going to screw with things, that's for sure. Okay, so oh no, I can hear myself double still. Audio seems okay. Audio's good. All right, so audio's good. Now let's do our due diligence. And oh, that's strange. I didn't get a notification that we were live. Okay, so here we go. I'm gonna take my headphone off here and listen to this. Okay, so that does sound pretty good on YouTube, and that's good news. So now, let's dial this back. It's just my Mac that's feeding the audio back to me, so I don't need to do that. I don't know, why is it playing? Wasn't doing this before. All right, lots of problems, okay? We've had lots of issues, but the big news, obviously, is, hey, the scene has changed, right? So it's no longer black sweater, black hat on a black background. I've changed it up. I've moved the studio around. I'll give you a little bit of a walkthrough in a minute as to what has changed, but we are doing something a little bit differently, and hopefully you will find this beneficial. Let me see. Now, it is a beautiful day over here in Auburn Hills, and so looking forward to that. Nice time. Hopefully we can spend some time outside at some point today, but you know, we'll see what happens there. Whoa, that was a quick cut. All right, and then I've got some other camera shots here that we're going to kind of walk through as well. So I've returned the P110 to the show, but it is now a side camera shot, and so it's over here, and it's not colorized perfectly. I don't like it exactly for. I don't care for this image as much as I like the P4K. Now, shocker, the P4K has a much different depth of color and what have you, and it looks different on my confidence monitor than it does in vMix, and so I'm going off of what vMix looks like and off of what it looks like here on my phone, because I'd rather know what that of course I clicked one thing and it's got off of my, there we go. Okay, so this is what I think the final show is, to be honest with you. And so if I listen to the audio here on my phone. So it's a little, there actually are some pretty heavy shadows on my face, and it's probably the level of my key light that is a little bit too high, but it's probably also then what's happening with that 110 is because that key light is probably a little high, and that camera is pretty much right behind that key light. So I'm going to have to dial back. Or maybe that exposure looks okay. Nah, I don't care for it. So I need to either turn up the exposure on the P4K because it is now in a different position in this room. I'm gonna have to turn that up, or whatever. I don't know. I have to walk through it, one at a time. But welcome to the show. Hey, thanks for stopping by today, everybody. We are doing things a little bit differently. I've moved the whole studio. My physical desk is in a different place in this room, and it actually frees it up the room a bit. Like there's more. It's not as obtrusive in where my desk was and how the studio was set up, and it works a little better. So the P4K is actually a little further away than it was before, which gives me more of an option when it comes to how to frame the actual shot. And so I like where it is. I don't like how precariously it's set up right now because it could be on a more stable platform. But if you've paid attention to the show at all over time, you'll know that this room is pretty much half storage, half studio. And as are most studios, actually, it's the space that you have. It's not necessarily, not many of us have the luxury to buy office space with the intention of building a studio, unless that's particularly what you're up to. So that wasn't in the cards when we first rented this space, but I've built a studio over time. I had one in my home. So one of the offices was going to be a studio, but I knew that I was going to be sharing the office space, the studio space, with other things, maybe another person, or in this case, storage. So that's what we're doing here. Now, the beautiful thing about adding storage to this room, which we have found out recently, is that when you add a bunch of storage stuff, it reduces the echo in the room, right? And so before, we had a bunch of boxes with cameras in it. Well, we shipped those out, and now we have put a whole bunch of other stuff in here. Let's just leave it at that. But it's absorbing the sound a lot better. So, yeah, cheers to those things just happening by accident and working out in your favor. And so here is Serenity now and Insanity later. Of course, getting phone calls and what have you during the show. You'll also notice that the colors change, which I think is pretty cool. You can automate that on these lights that I have on these RGBs, and so yeah, it changes it up a little bit and gives me a little bit of different color. It is definitely, you have to run everything in manual because you really don't want your lenses to white balance on this. But yeah, it's kind of fun, and I can change it to whatever colors I want. So there you go. If you want to see a different color, let me know. Okay, let's jump over to the chat and get on with some of this. I see there's been lots of chatter today already, and there's a whole host of you guys over here. And if you're watching over on LinkedIn, which I know some of you are, I don't even know how many of you are over in LinkedIn because StreamYard doesn't tell me. So there's at least 15 devices watching the show, probably more people than that. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty neat. All right, so are we doing X120 today? No, because I don't have an X120, and they haven't shipped me one yet. So I would love to do an X120, and you will, believe you me, when I get my hands on one, I will 100% be doing that on this show. So watch for that announcement because you will definitely see that when I finally get one. I could do a 110 review, which is one of our newer cameras, which is over here. I could do a 110 review. That's a 110 right there. But I can't do an X120 yet because I don't have one. There are only a handful that are in the wild right now in terms of with our sales team and with our engineers. So I probably won't get my hands on one until closer to launch date, put it that way. Hey, I have a show today. What's going on, Laura? I have a show today, and my TriCaster control surface is all messed up. Is the BirdDog keyboard quickly updated? Can it handle slightly different camera updates? Don't have much time to update everything. So I don't, this is kind of a bag of worms. I think the keyboard, I would give it a try. I wouldn't go into it with that being your only solution. I think your backup plan should be multiple studio monitors running in proxy on a computer that you can manually control. But give keyboard a shot because for the most part, It's pretty stable. I would highly recommend you keeping it on 2.1.4 if that's the version that you're on. Go to the LTS update for all of our cameras. All of our keyboards right now. Go to 2.1.4. There's a couple of things that we're noticing in 2.2.4, and the engineers, actually, there's a beta out for that we hope will fix some of these things. But 2.1.4 with that MICU seems to be really stable. So if you're going to update it, if you're running like 1.9.5, get it to 2.1.4, and that should be fairly stable for your show today. But have a backup plan just in case. Just because if you're using a brand new device and a control service in a live environment, and you're not super familiar with it or how stable it is, always have a plan B and maybe even a plan C. But the keyboard, I mean, you should be all right. I would definitely use 2.1.4 as of right today, because there's a couple of weird quirks happening in 2.2.4 that we are ironing out. In particular, just one style of the keyboard is having an issue, but just to make it easy for you, Laura, do 2.1.4. That's on the website. It's LTS. Hey, we're hearing double audio. Yes, and I was too. What it was is oh geez. All right, I can explain what's going on. Wait, is it resolved? Hopefully it's resolved. Okay, so I can explain what happened here. When I moved the studio around, I must have turned on the computer at some point and opened vMix, and it removed my audio channels. And so not only were my inputs gone, but my outputs were gone. So right before the show, I realized I test my audio right before the show, right as I'm doing the countdown. I just make sure that the meters are showing up and it's whatever's going on. Well, unfortunately, what happened was the inputs were all gone. And that's cool because I need my inputs. So I scrambled, and I had like 5 minutes to go. And I scrambled, and I added the inputs back into vMix. Well, none of my mute buttons don't work anymore. Cool, because I got to relink all those. Now those inputs are now like input 40 and 41. So I got to go through and redo those shortcuts. And so when I started the show, the double audio was coming from both inputs were on. Actually, I muted this one, but input 3.4, which is technically my Mac, goes into that interface, and then I can feed it into here, and that's if we want to watch YouTube videos or whatever together. That one was on. So you were hearing StreamYard's output going into this and then going here and then getting looped back to StreamYard. So it was a total mess. Anyway, so I muted those channels. That seemed to clean it up. And then I turned those channels down on the input, which I don't even know why they were up, but they were. So there you go. That's what was happening. And check. Okay, and my audio is in my headphones as well, so I can put this ear back on because I'll be able to hear myself in real time, and that sounds nice and clean, which I love. All right, so the audio issue, that's what was going on today, and unfortunately there was, wow, that's super loud now. Unfortunately, that was the resolution. Now, I can still hear my audio in my headphones super quiet, and it's probably one of these headphones things is still on, this one. So it's bleeding through that. Oh, you know what? Check. Check 1, 2. Test. I think I know what it is. Oh, that's not what I thought it was. I can still hear it, and it's really annoying because it's just this Mac that's causing the loop. There, it's gone. Yeah. So it's this Mac. It's plugged into this preamp, and the preamp is, the cable's not great and having isolation issues and whatever. So anyway, we will sort that out. But that's what happened, and that's why now my audio, I've been monkeying with it. So I appreciate you guys jumping in and letting me know that the audio is cleaned up, because I was really nervous. I was pretty sure we were going to have audio issues today. So, all right, what's going on, Angus? Good morning. And Patricia, how are you? Thanks for stopping by. Audio seems okay to me. What's going on, Ian? Over across the pond on the other side. Hopefully you're doing well. All right, audio's good. I can hear, but no video, and now I have video. Excellent. Yeah, I don't know what was with that first bumper video. It wasn't showing any video at all for me, too. So I got working. I triggered the video. I was trying to make sure the audio was all working, and then I looked up and there was no video, and I was like, wait a minute. And vMix wasn't playing it, and obviously then it wasn't in StreamYard, so I don't know what happened there, but I had to get that corrected. Ah, my friend from Stockholm, Sweden. Hopefully you're doing well. Thanks for stopping by. Hey, good morning. P4K camera looks as if it's looking up at you. Actually, it's directly in my line of sight. Is the same height. Well, the lens is actually slightly higher than my eye line. It's probably like here is where the middle of the lens is. Is the background supposed to be changing color? It sure is. Welcome to the new and improved. And I told you I could change any color, so there. Oh, I guess so. Hey, it's John. Oh, Senseless. Welcome to the show. Long time no see. Mister. I'm not bitter. Hey, I always watch the show from with both my personalities. What's going on, NetHab? Hopefully you're doing well. All right, the dark shot on this P4K is driving me crazy, so I am going to change that now. So we're going to jump over to, where's the P4K? Why is the P200 open twice? All right, so BirdDog-studio-P4K.local. Is there a way I could show you this? Okay, so this is super confusing, but my TV that I have as my secondary monitor is here. So I can show you the desktop, but I haven't been able to move that yet. So I'm going to be looking up this way, which is a little bit strange. But maybe if I look up, it kind of looks like I'm looking at the screen, right? Like on the full shot. So there we go. It kind of looks accurate at least. Anyways, I'm going to have to figure out a new home for this TV, I think, somewhere over there. But in the meantime, let's log in here and manipulate the P4K exposure settings real quick, because I do feel like it's a little dark. And it's just the new location, and the lighting has had to shift around. So, yeah. Let's go to cam control. And you know what? Inside screen capture, is there a way to turn on capture settings, mouse pointer? Okay, yeah, you can see. Okay, so now I can just use this screen. So cool. All right. Oh, look at that. When you think something through. All right, exposure. We are running at 60 frames, but we'd probably... Oh, that's interesting. I don't really want to go any higher on the gain, but I might have to just to... Okay. Whoa. All right, what do you guys think of this? That's too bright, right? That's too bright. I mean, we're used to... All right, so 15. I think I can get along with that for now. I need to change this light. Maybe I'll do that right now. I'm going to change the light where its position is, because that's obviously going to make this look different. So give me 1 second. Okay. All right. So now the light is lower, which means that it's going to hit under my hat, and the shadow from my cap is not going to cast such a long shadow underneath my eyes. But I actually like that a lot better. I think that looks cleaner, especially with the changing color background. I think that looks better. And I was able to get a boom arm for my... Actually, I could show you this. Well, can I show you all this? Yeah, I was able to get a boom arm for... Ew, this shot looks terrible now. P200 is not a nice shot. So this looks strange. So this P200 is up in the crow's nest. If you haven't really put it together yet, I've taken my desk and I have spun it 45 degrees. And now I'm facing where the P200 used to be. You know, it was an angled shot. Now I'm facing it basically. And I've put the 4K, you know, in that general vicinity as well. But this camera is way too dark. So let's go into the 200 and let's change this. Is this running 60 frames or 30 frames? Okay, cool. So that's what I thought I was running on all these cameras. But so we can actually lower this down to 30 frames and see what that... Ugh. Yikes. No, let's go back to 60 frames and finesse this a little bit. Because although it's a little dark, I'd rather increase the gain slightly than do a... Oh, you know what I can do? I can open this iris is what I can do. Whoa! Hey-oh! That's a little too much. It looks like I'm sitting on the surface of the sun. So let's do 2.4 on that iris. Okay, so we get some color, although the blacks are definitely overcrushed on this shot. So I can put, let's go one more. Yeah, that's all right, I guess. I don't know. It's really hard to, I guess I should look at my phone because that's really what I care about, right? Yeah, that's still pretty dark. Oh, okay. Actually, that's okay. I don't mind that. Let's swap this between now the P4K. Yeah. You know what? That's actually pretty close. So I like that. Let's roll with that for a few minutes because I like the way that those two work together. Now, the only other question is then, of course, the 110, which is not, I don't think it's actually white balanced correctly. So that's this shot. Between these two, I get the impression that it's not terrible. Yeah, it's just a little cold, I think. This one's just a little warmer, so I don't mind that at all. You know what? And I'll start the playlist just to give you guys some variety going forward. So, and we'll move the microphone out of the shot so that you can see my face because I've heard your complaints, and that's why it's actually positioned where it is because I want to be able to keep it out of the shot a little bit, which you could. You know, you can go crazy with this thing and really keep it out of the shot. But all right, let's do this. All right, let's go back to the chat real quick. The also part of the mic stand is in front of your face, but other than that, yes. Okay, so I've just covered that. I have been using Studio Monitor right now. I will try that with the keyboard. Thank you so much. Of course, Laura. Anytime you have a question, please ask. The coloration on your face is definitely changing as the background changes. Excellent. Yeah, I wanted to change it up. I wanted to keep it. Well, so let's check out then. Let's verify that because if that's true, white balance is set to manual, so it really should not be changing at all. And the exposure is also in manual. So nothing is other than the ambient color in this room, which, by the way, is like hitting the ceiling tiles and all of the walls, which are gray. And then I have that black scrim that I had before. You can see it actually right here in this shot. That black scrim that's right there is doing some absorption of some of the light. Because if I took that down, there'd be so much light in this room. So having something that will actually absorb light like that is super important. And oh, that's strange. Because the playlist is on. Got it. Okay, so yeah, cool stuff, everybody. Cool stuff. I'm enjoying this immensely. I actually like it. I like that there's something else. Now I need like a ficus or something. I need like a plastic plant in the background. I remember when I suggested that last time, Phil from BirdDog was like, oh, please don't put plants in the background. So what else could I put back there? Maybe I should get like a bookshelf or something, put some camera equipment. I don't know. It just seems like everybody does that. So I don't necessarily want to be that guy. But I do like the color. I do like the colors. It's good stuff. Hey, what's going on, Church Sound? How are you? Or Sound Church? Are you Sound Church or Church Sound? Is your church sound or is it sound? Anyway. Hey, good morning. In the previous direct, I asked about the F1, F2, F3 control presets. I'm a bit confused. Could you show me how to configure it for Cam 1, for example, with one click? Yeah. So there's two ways to do that. I don't have a keyboard in here, but I can talk you through it. It's pretty simple. The easiest way to do that is just to use the function buttons as function keys. And then, so go to the web UI, go to the function button option, and change the main selector from API to function. Then save that, apply that, and hit restart video on the dashboard. Now go into the keyboard, hit setup, put in your password. If it's default, it's just all zeros. And then go to keyboard settings and scroll down on keyboard settings to functions or function control or function buttons. I forget what it's called, but it'll say function in it. Click on the LR direction knob to go into that submenu. And inside there, you can select function 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Select function 1, click the LR direction button, and then do change it to Cam 1. Okay? This will then, once you change it to Cam 1 and go to exit, and do this for all the function buttons that you want to use. Once you do that, then when you click F1, it will select Cam 1. Okay? That's the easiest, quickest way to do that. If you want to use the API, that's a little bit more involved, but if you want to use the API, there are API commands to do that. But just out of the gates, if you just want to use that function in the next 5 minutes, that's how you do it. Pretty easy, straightforward. What's going on, Balu? Good to see you, man. This looks intentional. This is fine. Good times. Good times. So in live mode, pressing number cam in live mode is a bit slow for me. In an event, pressing number plus cam, that's a bit slow. Yeah, so that's the way you do it, is function 1 through 6 can be set as cameras 1 through 6, if that's what you want to do. And the easiest way is to tell the keyboard to operate in function button mode, not API mode, but function button mode, and then you set those functions on the keyboard. Okay, so under setup, password, keyboard settings, function buttons, and then customize them there. That's how you do that. Because the keyboard has some baseline functions for those buttons, and then BirdDog has gone another step and basically enabled those buttons to communicate directly over API commands, and then you can set those function buttons to do any API commands, not just BirdDog ones. So, yeah, that's cool. Cool stuff. Hey, I'd like to revisit a question from last week on the Wireshark show. Laura was listing the 12 cameras. What is going on here? Why am my phone is buzzing like crazy? Okay. Laura was listing 12 cameras on an M4300 switch, and your response was, wow. And you would split that many cameras over several switches. I mentioned this is our supplier integrator people. I mentioned this to our supplier integrator people, and they said that they didn't understand your wow, as they didn't see an issue with 12 NDI cameras on a single switch. Now I don't know what to do or who to believe. Did I miss something? All right. Why you wouldn't use that many BirdDogs on a single ... on a single switch? Yeah, I mean... Yeah, okay. So what you're asking here is my subjective opinion on why wouldn't I put that many cameras on a single switch? Well, let me have a tall drink of coffee before I get into this. Me personally, if I was setting up a system that required 12 cameras, my concern is not the cameras. My concern is the backplane, all right? The backplane of any switch that I know of that does AV in a large scale, okay, the 4300 is a serious AV switch. It is. So a single 4300, yeah, you might be fine. The problem is that you're requiring that switch to basically do all the work for everything. And generally speaking, you really don't want to have one thing responsible for everything. If you had the option to build a system that was redundant and had, if one of your 3 switches went down, you would still be up and running functional, obviously without the things that are plugged into the one switch. So people think about networking in multiple ways. They think of networking as I have a restrictive budget and I need to get as many ports as possible for my money. Okay, fair enough. That is a very typical mentality when it comes to folks that operate in especially like nonprofits or churches or stuff like that. It's basically, what is the thing I need to buy so I can plug in all my stuff? But if you talk to actual network admins, guys that do this for a living and guys that get called out on service calls regularly, they are going to design their systems to operate even when things fail. And that's where I come from, a network administration side. I do not want to hinge my production, the thing that I'm charging you money for. I don't want to hinge that on one piece of expensive hardware that might actually, that will one day in the future fail. It will. All technology will eventually fail. Given enough time, on a long enough timeline, it all fails. It's just like people. They all die eventually, right? We all have that same problem. We run out of time. Same thing with technology. Same problem. And we buy things and think, this thing is expensive. It should never die. That's not real. Okay, that thought is not a real thing. So a 4300 is a great switch. It absolutely is. And Netgear puts their brand and their name behind it. They promise to support it in an AV environment. It's all good. It's a great little switch. And if that's the scope of your project is I need 12 cameras and 12 ports to make this thing happen, and enough PUE budget and whatever, and your idea of how to set this up is one size fits all type of idea. Sure, 4300 is okay. Maybe a 42112PX would be all right. Does that one have 12 or 16 ports maybe? Anyway, I can't remember. There's so many different types. But from a networking perspective, that makes me really nervous, because you really should be designing your systems for your customers in a way that they can continue to operate even when their network falls apart, when something happens, when an update goes wrong. They're not dead in the water. Because what's going to happen is you're going to get an angry call 20 minutes before they go live saying, my switch isn't running. And you're going to be left, if you're more than 20 minutes away, you're going to be left saying, sorry, you're going to have to miss today's show. No. Don't set your customers up that way. Don't set yourself up that way. A 4300, what's the price of a 4300 right now? Let's check that out. Netgear 4300. They run 43. The one that you are talking about is probably this one. So 4300, which is 48 ports at 10 gigs with 4 SFP pluses. So this model is called the 4300-48X. So this would make, 48X. If we just Google that, that's a $6,000 switch. You can get it for $4,500. Oh wait, that's not right. Netgear CDM wants $7,000 for that thing. The 4300 43-52G PoE plus with 50 ports B&H saying $2,500. But if you're buying from CDM or CDW or Newegg, the 48X 10 gig backbone, which is 40 gigs basically, is $6,000. Okay. Or now, and the brain inside of that thing is great. I mean, it's got a good backplane. I caution you to not read the marketing material about what the backplane can handle, because that is put together by mostly marketing. This is for all switches in the world. Okay. It's been this way forever. What they do is they add up how many ports are on the switch, at what speed they operate at, and they combine those together to give you their backplane processing power. That is not real. Okay? It's not real. Instead, you need to probably be thinking about these things as constantly running at full throttle. What can that do? And talk to your integrator again, or your rep, or whoever it was that was surprised by my claim. Talk to them and say, okay, but in terms of data constantly flowing over this, nonstop, without it overheating, without it needing to throttle down, what's that number? And I would actually be pretty surprised if they know, because I don't know too many distributors or integrators or retailers who know that data. Now, they are out there, by the way. People, they do exist, because I've talked to guys who do real-time testing in the field, a couple of guys in Western Canada in particular, who do real-time testing like this and force the switches to overload, and then they know what the actual maximum load is. But ask them, okay, but what's the average operating temperature if I'm going to put 12 cameras on this 4300? Just see if they know. Hopefully they do. But I hesitate when I'm doing, 12 cameras at 140 megs minimum for full NDI. Okay? So let's just 140 megs times 12 cameras. We're going to operate all of those and bring those into vMix over a 10 gig trunk. You're talking about more than 1.5 gigs of data being processed in real time all the time. Maybe you're going into a TriCaster, and that's not the case. But a lot of people who are nickel and diming over one switch are not buying a $10,000 switcher. They're buying and now Laura did, by the way. She's running a TriCaster, but they're not buying that TC1, TC2, TC device. They're probably running into vMix or Wirecast, which is all doing full NDI. So now we're going to have an issue with the PC NIC cards. Now we're going to have, okay. So what's a better way to do this? Well, I would suggest from a networking standpoint that you may want to consider spreading the workload over multiple switches, which gives you multiple processors inside the switches. And people are like, processors? It's like, yeah, those switches actually have processing power. And then I could so if I was to spend $6,000 on a 4300, or I could buy 3 or 4 of these 4212Ps, for example, and link them together over fiber and have one of them as the master. You can still use the 4300 if you have it already, but use that as the brain. Use that as the top layer of your network, running the DHCP and all that stuff, right? Use your layer 3 stuff. And then use these other smaller ones as your points in which your cameras are going to plug into. First of all, you're not using all the power budget out of one switch, which is generating heat. You're not forcing all the data to go through the same backplane, which is generating heat, which means that your fans are going to be running full tilt while you're doing your productions, and potentially off as well, while anything is decoding that stream. So those fans are going to start running, which is another moving part that is going to degrade over time. Or you could run 3 or 4 sources, which are what I'm currently doing right now, by the way, over one switch, and those fans are operating in automatic mode. I can't hear them. They're not running. They are running, but they're running on low. So you could do that, which would lower the power requirements across multiple switches, which would lower the heat generation over multiple switches, which could still be just as fast if you just trunk them together over fiber. Even 1 gig fiber, trunking them together works great. These 4250s operate great, and it's the same price. Actually, it's probably cheaper. You can get a whole bunch for, let's say on the high end, $1,000 a piece. You can buy 6 of them for the same prices as this 4300 48X. So, and then you could link them all together. So if one of them goes down, your whole production isn't offline, right? It's just a couple of your cameras, and you can move them over to open ports on those other switches. So that's kind of my idea. It is a subjective idea. If I were to be designing this from a network standpoint, I want redundancy. I don't want to put all my eggs in one basket. I want to create a system that can handle multiple interfaces. I can still have a really robust backbone over 10 gig SFPs or 1 gig SFPs. I can still do all of that, and it'll work just the same. It's not overcomplicating the situation, and presenting this to your customers. Look, we can buy 1 switch or we can buy 4. But if we buy 4, we're going to have redundancy, and you're rarely going to be down for very long, which is money, by the way. When companies, when studios, when people are offline, they're losing money. We understand that concept because we hear about it all the time. Hey, my camera's not working. I'm losing money. I can't do my production. We hear about that constantly. And so why do we want to set our customer up for a point of failure like that of a single switch? If again, if you don't have a network admin in your team and maybe you need simplicity with a 1 switch idea, I understand why people do it. I just don't think it's a great way. And honestly, to hear your retailer or distributor not understand that concept, or maybe not understand why I would feel the way that I do about that, and the philosophy behind that is, unfortunate, because you want to build robust systems. Again, especially since price is the same, you want to build robust systems in your for your clients or for yourself, so that things continue to operate. Even if all of those switches are just stacked next to each other and you're just using little fiber jumpers to get between them, you're still offloading the majority of the work over multiple processors and then allowing that data to travel through basically an open trunk. So it's not going to be hindered at all. So me personally, many hands make light work. And if you're relying on one switch to do it, you're running that thing full tilt every time you're doing a production, or potentially all the time, especially if you're doing signage on full NDI. You're running that thing full on. It is going to die way faster than if you have for the same cost, you have multiple switches. And then if one of those dies, you just patch over the cameras that were on the other ones to the multiple switches that you have, and you're up and running again. Anyway, rant over.
How neat is that?
So, sorry, we already answered this. 2 ferns? Yeah. Yeah, I could get between 2 ferns. I think that's been done. So, hey, you should try green and chroma key or out and do some fun Star Wars background stuff. Okay. We could. However, I have gone on a rant about how I think green screens are super cheesy. Super cheesy. I think they're super cheesy. I think they've just been done so much. And like Zoom made it worse by during the COVID stuff. Everybody was on Zoom and they're like, check out these cool backgrounds. You could do it without a green screen. And it was like people sitting in offices, but it was really like their messy bedrooms. And my favorite is when you have those filters on and then somebody walks by or like comes into frame and then it's like, boom, somebody appears in the screen. Ugh, it's all jarring. Like somebody just, what is it called? Somebody just, shoot, what's it? Anyways, they just appear suddenly and then disappear. I'm not a fan of green screens. I like depth, I like the fact that there's some depth behind me here, and that now there's color, and I think that's kind of cool. I like this shot because you can kind of see what's going on. I really need to keep drinking this coffee because it's been 42 minutes and it's going cold quickly. So I do have an Ember mug with no creamer. This one has creamer in it, so caffeine's hitting that system. Starting to get a little anxious. Anime posters? Ooh, posters. That's not a bad idea. Probably not anime. That's not really my bag, but yeah, potential. Perfect. Thank you. Hey, what's going on, Judson? Judson, you have several handles. I can't memorize all of them all the time, but you definitely have several handles. Hey, regarding the 12 cameras, I would say a single switch would be best as long as the backplane is non-blocking, or use link aggregation across multiple switches. 12 full NDI cameras. SpaceX collapsed. The 4212PX is 8 PoE, 2 non-PoE, 2 SFP+. That's the switch I want. I want to get a bunch of those. I have just the P, and it's just 1 gig SFP, so I double SFP over to that switch, and it works great. But I'm only running 4 cameras. I'm not, I'm doing other NDI sources, but I'm just running 4 full NDI sources on my network. So 24 port, 1. So running 12 cameras on a 4300 is okay when you have 24 cameras running on 2 M4300s. Interesting. Oh, it's 3,000 Canadian. Okay. The 24 port one, I see, which is $3,000. So again, or an expensive 4250 would be, you get 3 of them. Anyways, it's just that's a TC2. Oh, there you go. That's fun. So we have an 8-port 4250 in a portable rig that is rarely used. Might ask them to integrate that into the setup and start there and see where we sit. Thank you very much. It's all clear now. Well, and again, look, I understand that people are going to have their opinions about this, and we've done ourselves no favors by not talking clearly over the past 5 years about the networking portion. I have started to get into this. Oh, that's weird. I have started to get into telling people we really find this configuration to be more reliable. We say that more often now. But it's something that the NDI industry has been very hesitant to do, and rightly so, because if you tell them, do it this way, and then the product doesn't work that way, now you're on the hook. But it doesn't help, because then now we got hundreds of voices of all different opinions about how to skin the same cat. It's like, why don't we test it on a configuration to make sure it works on that, and then we can turn around and say, we know it works this way. You know, how that seems to make sense to me, and it gives the customer confidence. And so that's what we do here, is I run this on a 4250, this whole rig, 4 cameras, vMix, StreamYard, interconnected cameras running, or computers running NDI between the two, running various programs, and I know the performance works at a certain level. I know that, which is great. I really like it. So many hands make light work. Sensei John. I saw a picture on Reddit of the behind the scenes of Eurovision, and all of their racks had 3 M4250s each for redundancy. Boom! Phew! Glad I'm not the only one that feels that way. I didn't think it would fly. Maybe for your stream you should do anime posters. Greetings from India. What's going on? How are you? Welcome to the show. Thanks for stopping by. I used an old video toasters back in the day. Oh, wow. I've never actually cut a show on a TriCaster, though. Have I? I think I've done it a couple times. It's a workflow thing you got to kind of get used to, but they're beautiful. I mean, they work great. We have one here, which I should probably start using, but we're also talking about maybe upgrading the vMix machine, so we'll see. What would the maximum consumption to take into account to go with power? What would be the maximum consumption to take into account power to spare of a P200, for example, powered by PoE? I think you're asking about how much spare power should you have. BirdDog has always said 20 to 30%. Don't exceed your budget more than 70 or 80%. 80's pushing it for us. But people think, well, I have the budget. Why not just do it? It's like, yeah, you just leave yourself some room. Same thing with backbone. Same thing with, like if you're doing a 1 gig backbone through your entire network, okay, then you're going to be restricted to basically 5 cameras or 6 cameras. And that's pushing it, so just leave yourself some room. If you're pushing the envelope, understand that your results may vary. Let's put it that way. I'd love to see a show where you plug in as many cameras as possible into a switch and see it fail. Yeah, that would be fun. I had a show I was testing something the other day, and I was unplugging and plugging in cameras, and I had third-party programs crashing all over the place, all over my network. It was lots of fun. Greetings, John. What's going on, GoWeb? Hopefully you're doing well. What do you think of the new setup? And I could talk through, if some of you weren't here at the beginning, so we can talk through that if you'd like as to what's changed. As you can see, I've moved my desks to where I can have colored backgrounds, and I can also change those colors. Let me see. Let me try and remember which one it is. I think it's this one. Yeesh. So I can change those colors to be whatever it is that I want. I can also slow it. If you think the colors are changing too fast, let me know, because we can change that. And that's just the mode. Why can't I create my own mode? Mole. Okay, so go back. Main, control multiples, like this. Group, sort, delete. Let's establish a new group. This is called Studio Light, Studio back wall. Now the issue is I have 2 different types of add devices. These 2. I have another device that's in the middle that's blue all the time. It's actually in a different controller. It's a long story. Anyways, we go to scenes. No, groups. Where are we here? Where are the groups? Studio back wall. Here we go. So I can turn the group on or off. So accessing, I can set them to the same color, for example. So if we want to just do blue for the whole show, there we go. Or if we want to add some, oh, you can't really see that too well, can you? Oh yeah, purple. Okay. It doesn't show up on the P4K. Purple is an option. If I want to do an angry show, I can make it all red. I could change it to orange. This shot, unfortunately, shows the hot spots on the wall, and I could pull the colors out, I guess. Maybe that'll throw it a little bit more evenly. Let's take a look. So like if I do that, it just makes the hotspot bigger. Yeah, meh. It's I don't know about that. Blue, really light blue. That's oh geez, my eyes. I'm seeing dots. Or anything in between. So I can change it. We can do a yellow, which would be I don't like yellow. What else do we got? Default color is just white, I think. So just want to add a lot of lumens to the shot. Could do that. But I do like having some color. So yeah, vote. Oh, now we can also change the brightness. So let's see what we can do here. You can really turn it down. That's interesting. Actually, it's an interesting idea. Maybe that's how I add color to this, is I don't run it at full on. Although, again, the P4K, look at this shot. P4K, that's purple, or supposed to be. And it really looks blue, but this is blue. Ooh. I wish I could put in like a hex command because I want to change it to BirdDog green. But that's not an option on these guys. And that does not look green to me. That kind of looks gray, honestly. So, burnt. That's lame-o. So then we could change the mode if we go here and we could say, well, we could really get crazy and do like green flashing. I don't know why this would be desirable for anybody. Not entirely sure who needs this. And that's what a bunch of these modes are, just flashing. Red and green smooth transitions. This makes me feel like I'm in some sort of emergency situation here. Or like I'm playing stoplight with my kids. Red light, green light. 3-color smooth is what this is called. It's just so fast. It's very fast. We could do the whole color wheel, evidently. And this is full color flash. See, I don't really... I don't know, this preset is called Cozy. Because that's why you came to the show, everybody. Nice cozy feel. Do it yourself smooth? What does that mean? So if I edit this... red and green smooth, edit? No. I thought that there was a way that I could like make my own. Oh yeah, and then there's a way for the thing to access your microphone, and then it changes based on the sound. So like if you have music playing or something, the background changes based on that, on like rhythm, I guess. So if I pound the desk or if I tap the microphone, does it change? It sure does. That's hilarious. You can also link it to your music, which I don't know if you would necessarily want to do that. Anyways, fun times, everybody. Fun times. And studio wall, multi-control, control all. So let's change this back to something a little easier on the eyeballs. And let's go with, this one's called Fresh. Fresh. So there we go. You didn't know what you were getting into today when you logged into this show, that's for sure. And I don't know how many of you are over on LinkedIn because StreamYard won't tell me, but there are lots of people here on the YouTubes and on Twitch and even on the Facebook user group. Hey, while I'm thinking of it, if you wouldn't mind, please jump over to birddogjohn.tv. That is where I do all of my anything that I do in this studio shows up on that channel, and I'd love it if you would subscribe. We're slowly creeping forward on subscribers, and that's been really cool to watch evolve. But if you'd hit me up over at birddogjohn.tv, that is where we hang out all the time. What I should do is just put an overlay QR code, and then you could just scan the QR code and subscribe that way, right? Is there on YouTube, Does anybody know if there's like a subscribe link? Because I could just use that URL to direct people to that. That would be pretty slick. Let's see what the YouTubes have to say, and I will get back to the chat. Oh, now this coffee. It's getting colder as the time goes on. It's borderline cold. Let's pour some of my Ember hot coffee into this, and let's see how much of this I spill. Not too bad. This coffee's hot. So now, did that fix this? Not really. But it's warmer than it was. So there you go. All right. So we're going to jump into the chat real quick just because I see you guys are still talking. Slower background color changing would be a good idea. Maybe half of the current speed. It's easy to turn a hex color to RGB percentage values. Yeah, they don't give me any of that. All right, so you want me to do half speed. Hang on. Okay, this is half. Half of what it was. Hey, it looks awesome. Thanks, GoWeb. Appreciate that. BirdDog cameras are crisp when adjusting to fast changing colors. They do pretty well. I've been impressed with that. So, new studio layout looks great. I think the lights a little dimmer would look better, especially on the wide shot. Greetings from New Orleans. What's going on? Thanks for checking in from New Orleans. Yes, the wider shot, there's a lot of color, but that might be an exposure setting that I need to probably adjust. Oh, and the other thing I need to do is I need to check in on there is a secondary microphone. So in that other shot, in this shot, you can see my Rode NTG2 NTG2 microphone. I need to test that audio because I haven't yet. So let's switch over there to that one. All right, there is that. Now I can hear that. It is definitely wider, right? That's a wider sound for sure. Does it need to be Does it need to be put in a different location? Let's take a quick little look-see. Boy, that makes a big difference if I look down, eh? That's crazy talk. All right, so back to the YouTubes, back to the live view. Let's take a look. Let's listen in and see what it sounds like. Oh. Weird. That's hilarious. I can hear it in my headphones, but it's not showing up in vMix. That's hilarious. What's the story there? Oh my gosh. Well, that's why we don't test everything on camera, folks. You got the real deal here at the BirdDog studio, that's for sure. All right, so I'm going to turn that off. I can hear it in my headphones, so the microphone is being powered and is making it through the system. But it is not showing up in vMix. It shows that it's just completely dead. But it's in channel 1. What's the story there? Interesting. Very interesting. So maybe I will move it. Oh, you know what it is? I know what it is. It's because channel 1 on the mixer, which I don't like the way that vMix does this, but in the audio settings on the mixer side, yeah, channel 1 has been turned off in the matrix. Okay, so now if we switch it over, let's see if that makes any, oh yeah, there it is. Okay, so it's coming into vMix now. Let's watch it on the stream. Yeah, I can definitely hear it on my phone, that's for sure. Yeah, all right. So there's going to be a massive loop there for a couple of minutes. Sorry about that. Okay, but I do think that this microphone, let's go back to this shot. I do think this microphone needs to be in a better location because it is not. So if we close this, I can hear it pretty well through the headphones. The NTG2 sounds so bad after hearing the RE20. It is not in an ideal position. So let me move it real quick. All right. Now that is just off camera, and you can see it in the shot how close it is, but in the P4K, it's here. So now I want to hear this because but in the P4K, yeah, it's definitely a different sound because it's a lot closer, and I can even like turn it up. I got lots of room above it. So when we're doing training videos and we don't want the microphone in the shot, we could do something like this, and this would work pretty well. But yeah, it's pretty close. Is your office so windy enough that you need a big furry cover? No, I leave the furry cover on there so I don't lose it. That's why I leave it there. Although there have been times where it picks up things that I don't like, the air conditioning and whatever that I don't want it to, and that does seem to help. But I do leave that cover on there just because there's really no point in taking it off, so it just stays on full time. That does sound better, but you can still really hear the side low, of the reflection surfaces, because that's a hard wall and this is a hard wall. Hopefully it sounds better, going forward. And if I could really get up on this thing, like I wonder how close. Like I wonder how close I could really get this thing to my mouth. Like it's pretty close. So that's fun. You can definitely tell the difference, right? Like the difference between the RE20 and all the other sound that's going on in this room. But yeah, fun stuff. I might even be able to wonder if I should point it, have it down at the front. That'd be a fun experiment because right now, obviously, it's up high. But if I had it down on my desk, I could probably put it like right in front of me. So let's do this. I'm gonna go to commercial and let's see if I can change this up real quick. I'm gonna play a quick little video. Whoops! I better take this brand off here. All right, I'm gonna play a quick little video, and I'm gonna change my position of this shotgun microphone to be as close as I possibly can, right in front of my mouth. This is gonna be fun. I'm totally nerding out about this. So let's see, what's a halfway decent video with a minute and a half or whatever. Okay, X120. So here we go. Oh, weird. All right. now this is like right in front of me. It is. Oh, you can see it actually. It's right there off camera. There. So you can 100% though. I think you can hear the reflections. You can hear the. Let's if we like crank up this preamp, man, you can just hear so much more that's going on, right? Like in this room. I don't know. What do you guys think? It is very close, and also I have to set up a whole lot more because the bar that feeds this microphone, which I guess I could get a different stand, is right in the shot. It's right off camera. There's like a bar right here, so I have to change the way that I'm sitting in order for that to work correctly. I'm gonna disconnect this guy. I'm still hearing. I guess not. Yeah, anyways, so crazy times. Let's have a little listen to the stream. I guess not. Yeah, anyways, so crazy times. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty clear though, right? Like it's not too bad. And if I turn up my headphones, I can clearly hear myself. So yeah, that's crazy stuff. Sorry, I've neglected you folks that are here in the chat. Let me roll back here real quick. New studio layout looks great. Already read that. The road died, no audio. Shotgun, no makey noise. I know the feeling. I feel like I'm testing everything live every day. I mean, look, it is the reality of the business that we're in. Sometimes it's helpful to see somebody struggling with it a little bit, right? So that's what I'm here for, Laura. Don't worry. We'll struggle together. It's all good. Is your office that noisy you need the furry cover? That does sound better, but you still have to you can hear all that. Oh, I've already read all this. I maintain that you should go for a cardioid mic, not a shotgun. Still not a fan. Outdoors, the NTG2 is pretty decent, especially with the furry cover. I'm glad you feel that way. I don't like my positioning in this shot, that's for sure. So let's go ahead and sort that out. Also feel like this is right in front of my mouth. This is the closest any microphone other than the RE20 has ever been. So, but see, if I move this camera down to where I'm sitting a little more comfortably, and I usually like lean back in this chair, then I'm definitely going to get all this in the shot. So what do? We get a little closer, go a little higher. Can I raise this chair up at all? Ooh, the chair does go up. Ooh, now I'm off on all of those shots. All right, so there, probably don't need to be as close as I was there. I like an establishing shot that shows a little bit more. Okay, that's. Oh, what is that thing? It's the arm for the microphone. Okay. Okay, so there you go. We've sorted that out. Now, of course, the next shot is all messed up. So the 200 is now not center. Oh, I'm sorry, not the 200. The 110 is not center because that one's kind of over my shoulder. So we'll have to raise that up like a Josh Groban song. And then let's cut to that camera real quick so that we can figure out what that looks like. Yeah, it looks like all right. And then, yeah. So NTG2 still here. If I could get any closer to it, then I could turn it down even more. But you're right. You definitely hear that ambient sound a little bit. And it's not as clear as that RE20, which I'm going to go back to now. So we're going to turn off the NTG2. And for those of you who are watching at home, there we go. So RE20 always wins the day. Then again, it's half the NTG2 is half the price of the RE20, and it's a different microphone. So it has a different different expectations. Let's put it that way. I can hear your chair. It's a pretty precise mic, but maybe EQ the room out a bit. Yeah, that's probably a good idea. Ooh, and I should turn this. This is really loose. I should turn this so that there we go. We're back in action on the RE20. So yeah, if we're doing videos, tutorials and whatever, then we use the NTG2. But for this show, doesn't really make much sense to do that, right? So, the sweet sounds of the RE20. Please go back. Thank you. You're welcome. The RE320 is way better. Oh, state your case, Judson. These are fighting words. By the way, folks, I'm using a different multi-viewer. If you weren't here on Tuesday, I talked about what I'm doing with multi-viewer now. I'm now using multi-viewer Pro from BirdDog. And this feels like a Tom Sinclair show. So I'm using multi-viewer Pro. Oh, look at that. You can see the arm of the RE20 now in the shot, eh? Okay, well, I'm not... Well... Okay, there we go. That's better. So I'm using the BirdDog Multi-Viewer Pro, which, naturally you would think that I would be doing, because I wanted to stop generating a multi-viewer on my own computer out of vMix, which I think was chewing up resources, which we'll see, because I don't actually know. It doesn't really appear that any more resources were being used by that. Sorry, I'm just going to adjust this here a bit. It doesn't appear that any additional resources were being used. I'm sure that some processing power was being used, but I'm not detecting it on the actual CPU while I'm using it. But, less is more. So I'm using Multiviewer Pro, and I was going to take that's what I was doing. I was going to take the 110, which is sitting here off to my side, and just to show you that rig unofficially. It's not pretty, so brace yourselves, folks. It's definitely not pretty. Let me spin this around so that you can see. But now I have a camera. I have basically a static shot. Let's cut over to that. That on an old TV, and there's a camera there that's just above it. But now I have all of that stuff in one place. I even have the little timer running, so I know exactly what time it is. I don't have to look anywhere else. But it's great, and it's far enough away where line of sight, eyesight is not as noticeable as it was before. So I really like that. I think it's cleaner. I do lose some of the functionality that the vMix multiviewer has, just because obviously we're not, it's not direct lines out, but it's less busy. And like I said, less is more in many ways, because it's not as busy and it's pretty clean. It still does tally. It shows me the names of the cameras, but that's coming off of a Mac Studio that's in another portion of the office across the network. So it's working great, and it's actually being shown on a BirdDog Play on that TV. So everything's humming along as it should. Serenity now. Insanity later.
Serenity now. Insanity later.
So, put that cup off to the side. So, yeah, that seems cleaner to me. Seems easier. And what I'm doing on the Multiviewer Pro, just to be full disclosure here, is I am showing the proxies of all of my sources, so it's not chewing up the bandwidth on that 1 gig connection on the studio, the Mac Studio. And I'm just using the proxies. I'm shipping out full NDI out of Multiviewer Pro at 1080p 30, I believe, which is that's not even required. You wouldn't even need 30 frames, so you could lower it down. And I don't need it to be 1080 for that matter. But it goes to the Play, and then the Play just shows that. So really easy. And it shows all the 3 main cameras in my studio. Now, one of the cameras that I need to fix is my overhead shot, because it looks like this right now, and that's rough, to say the least. So it's crooked, first of all, but it's currently in the position that it was earlier, where it's up above the old position of the desk. So if anything, it needs to just come and hang right over top of me. There is an air return right above me, so that's going to be interesting to kind of monkey around with, but we'll sort that out. We'll figure that out. That's all right, and we'll go further. Those professional cardboard box stands, only premium cardboard will do. It's true. Premium cardboard. That's what that is. And good eye, good catch, because it's pretty dark over there, so The fact that you didn't see the stack of styrofoam that's right behind it. Super unhealthy for the environment, by the way, which is why we don't put it in the trash. We keep it here until we get sick and tired of it, and then we'll figure out what to do with it afterwards. But it helps us with doing some B-stock and returning cameras to customers who ship them to us in like rough condition. We at least return it to them in styrofoam so that they can protect their camera a little bit longer. Don't forget, folks, today's show is not brought to you by Ember Mugs. Keep your coffee hot and your creamer curdled. Good stuff. All right. I actually made it to the end of the chat. Hopefully I didn't miss anybody's comments, but I made it to the end. That's pretty great. All righty. If you weren't here at the beginning of the show, I will also put this up there that it is a beautiful day over in Auburn Hills, which is where this office is, Auburn Hills, Michigan. As you saw probably from my title slide today, I've been making unique slides. I think it adds a little bit to the show, provides maybe just not such a generic. I was using the marketing team sent me the one that has my face. It says live stream, but now I'm making my own. And I feel good about those. I feel like it makes it a little bit better. I made a fatal error on Tuesday where I went into YouTube to cut up the section where Jake talks about his studio, and I trimmed it, and I hit preview, and then I hit trim, and it deleted the rest of the show. And I can't figure out what I did different than in the past, because normally it makes a new clip. But this time it actually cut the show, and I didn't mean to do that. So, oh well. Tuesday's show is gone other than the time that Jake was with us showing us his studio. So if you want to see Jake's studio, that is up on my YouTube page, and there's a thing that says BirdDog Jake's Studio Tour. So let me think if there's anything here that other than adding color to the background, moving my desk. I've had some audio issues which we experienced here earlier today, and we've monkeyed around with the NTG2 a little bit. So other than those things, you're distorting on the peaks just a bit. Oh, it's probably because I cranked that thing up a fair bit earlier. So hopefully that's better. So the major changes, I've had to move the lights around, the actual key lights and everything. And the back is now lit to colors, and so can provide some uniqueness there. I might try and change that up every now and then just to change it up. And I need to figure out a new home for my TV, which is my second monitor, which is where I do demonstrations, because right now it is directly to the next to me, which is not good. But find a new home for that. I may actually bring a different TV in here, but I'm probably going to need to figure out how to, like, TV stands or something to make that happen. But I moved this around into this configuration because I really wanted to enable the option in the near future to have people come into my office and interview them and do an actual podcast with them. So I'm hoping that one day this will be more of a suitable arrangement where we can do, like, I can have a 200 up there and I can have a camera on boxes over here, shining at that person, and maybe get a different microphone, probably not the NTG2, but use this space as a way to interview. I will need to light them correctly, obviously, but I don't know. I'm toying around with that idea. I would like to have the flexibility to do that. It's handy to have a studio. I still have a black scrim, so I could even block off, put that over there and maybe make it a little lower, but give them a black background or whatever. So that there are options out there for this to evolve into something, and that would be great to continue to grow and to make this, if not better, then at least a little different, change it up. And, my studio has evolved over the ages that I've been doing this, and we're learning all sorts of stuff. And really it comes with direct feedback. I think it's coming from direct feedback from viewers like you. All right. I think I will do a theater studio tour today. You have me inspired. Since it all changes on the 24th for me to more things, it will be good to look back. Actually, and that sort of stuff is so cool. Like I look at where I started and our first shows in here. I look at me running OBS and how much work it was and how it sounds and everything. And it just gets better and better and better over time. You hope it does. It better. But it gets better over time. And that's been really helpful to have like an archive of that information, even if it's just YouTube, right? So it's always good to have a record and to watch things get better over time. And actually, it makes a better use of the space in here. So that's been really, really fun. What was the other thing oh, shoot. Oh, yeah, I was going to look up fake plants. You know, on Amazon, fake plants are crazy expensive. What's the deal with that? Fake plants. Why is that? Why are they so expensive? I don't understand why like a small tree would be crazy expensive. Here are like 2 artificial ferns, $140. In what stratosphere is that okay? These ones, 2 artificial, $85. What on earth? 1 artificial bamboo plant, $120. Like, shouldn't that be $15? What like, I'm completely flabbergasted that is the price. Maximum price I want to pay is $20. Let's see what we can come up with. So these are like little potted plants, but they're teensy tiny. What I want is a legit tree that looks halfway decent, but I'm cheap and I don't want to pay that much money for something like that. Make it look like I'm on a tropical island. I could put a video wall behind me now, I guess, right? Because I do have wall space, and there's a fair bit of distance. Like this is the wall back here, so there's a fair bit of distance between me and that wall. So we could change it up, do a little video wall. Although they would need to be really tiny screens, given the framing of the P4K. It's the tax of not having to maintain. That's true. You pay one way or the other with those things. Plants made from plastic, plastic made from oil. Oil is expensive. Touche. Buy real plants, John. It's a sign. Yeah, so what? I can watch them die? Is it Dimitri Martin? He has a joke about that. And he's like, you should only give flowers to people who you want to threaten. It's like, here, you're next. That's so good. Oh, I'll check this out, Braden. Yeah, the ones that I'm seeing on Amazon are ridiculously expensive. So, I don't know what the deal is there. Okay, these 2 artificial ferns. But these sit on the ground. Wowzers. That's interesting. I don't know. What do I need to put in my background now, guys? What needs to be back there? Because plants are like the obvious choice, but Phil doesn't want me to do plants. You're doing a very good job of keeping your poinsettia alive. It's true. I have, to my name, I have been keeping a Christmas poinsettia from 2021, Christmas 2021 alive for a year and a half in my office. And I drink like a big thing of water, and when I get down to like the last little drop, I pour it into the poinsettia thing because it doesn't need a lot of water, but it sits in the window and it just keeps going. So a laser star field. Yeah, that won't screw with my cameras at all. Put a massive picture of me smiling behind you. Now, there is an option that I have 100% overlooked. Yes, we should figure that out, senseless, how to do that. Although I get to choose the picture of you smiling. Let's put it that way. I'm going to catch you candid one day. And then that's the photo that I'm going to... Or I could get headshots of all of my agents and then point to you when I'm referring to something. A BirdDog display shelf. For all of our accolades and awards, let's do it. You know, the one that we have here. Oh, NetHub has a Amazon option on here. Let me jump back over to... Ooh, this is like a little alien astronaut guy that has a projector. It's for kids. Oh, you know what? My kids actually have those little star things. They'd barely use those. Maybe I should just bring one of those in. Jess would love that idea. Yeah, I can't see anything wrong with that. I'm sure she would really enjoy having her face on camera. whenever we talk about her coming on the show, she freezes up on us. So I don't know. It sounds like that would just cause a lot of internal brain hemorrhaging. So there's that. Good stuff. Good stuff. Hey, here's something interesting. So when you use inside vMix, when you put your picture on your desktop shot, for example, right? So I've got this shot where if we share this, I put this here inside vMix. vMix sends that out as that camera's live, which is handy, but also a little confusing because I get why vMix says that this camera is live. I understand why, because it is live. I'm right there. I'm right here in the corner. But it's not really. I feel like there. I wish there was like a third option where it was like, well, this camera is in a layer, and here's why I'm a little annoyed by this. In the Auburn Hills shot, this one, there are hidden cameras on this shot in this layer, and I did this because I was using this similarly to the way that that desktop shot is used. So I had like this guy. Where is it here? I had that main camera overlaid on this shot, and main. Where is it? Come on. Oh, weird. And now it's not working. Huh. Well, anyways, in this shot, I had my face in one of the bottom corners. Maybe it's got to be like this. Nope. Oh, is it because I have to hit OK? No. I have no idea why this isn't working. It's very strange. It keeps reverting back to the previous setup. Anyway, in the Auburn Hills shot, my face was kind of like this one. And inside the Multiviewer Pro, it outputs that camera is live. And it is technically live. I understand because it's on the layer and it is being shown. But it's a little annoying because then you have multiple ones that are red. And you don't really know while looking in Multiviewer which one is actually on the output, right? So I wish that vMix only made red the complete output, not just the partial layered. So it shows that P4K is live and has the red box around it right now. But I wish it didn't show that. I wish it would show the red outline should be the desktop view only, not the P4K, because I can see that one. Anyways, it's just a gripe. I think it's actually just one of the side effects of NDI doing the metadata tally than it is anything because the camera is live. We are drawing in that shot. So I understand, but anyways, like a yellow tally for on screen somewhere, or yeah. And again, so the reason my complaint about it is because on the Auburn Hills shot, the camera is there, but it is hidden. And so it goes red. The camera goes red, but then on the actual output, it's not there. So if you have a camera selected in a layer, regardless if it's on or not, it goes red with tally on your multiviewer. And that's annoying because it's not live. Because I hit it. I turned it off. So mix effects with multiple cameras show live like that on most production switchers. It's not an NDI thing. Oh, there you go. I thought it was just an NDI thing because of the way the metadata works, but touche. Maybe that's just an industry standard, and I would be just annoyed in general. That's great. All right. Hey, it's 12:30, and I can see that because on my multiviewer, I have a big giant clock, and that's pretty fun. I was toying between, do I do a 2x2 or a 3x3? The issue is I don't really have enough sources for 3x3. And I don't have really 9 sources to do that. So I stuck with 2x2. I think it keeps it nice and clean. I'd like my multiviewer to be on a bigger screen and not to be using this tiny 20-year-old Samsung. But, beggars can't be choosers. So we live with what we have, and we make it better over time. Just like Laura, she's about to change a bunch of things, and she's gonna She needs to do a little walkthrough, record as is, and then see how great it becomes when she starts changing things in a week or two. Anyways, those are the major changes for the studio, everybody. And I took an hour and a half to really talk about it. We did some audio stuff. That was fun. But yeah, I'm enjoying this. I like this shot. You will definitely know, that was late spring. That was mid-May when those videos started looking that way. So things change. I had heard, people didn't like the black background with the black shirt and the black hat and just my head floating on screen. So here you go. Here's the alternative is, okay, we'll put some color back there. I could green screen it, but I think they're cheesy. So I'm probably not going to do that. But one day, maybe we chroma key those lights to be green back there, and that's how it works. But hey, at least this way, that the video is live, even if I'm sitting super still, because the colors are changing. And that would only happen if we had live video, right? Now the audio. Oh, here's something that's sad is because I'm not watching a vMix output on my multi-viewer, I can't bring in the audio from that channel to see it in my multi-viewer. So before I could see the green bars out of the vMix multi-viewer bouncing up and down on my multi-viewer. Well, now I have to rely solely on the green bars that are in vMix, which is why I missed the audio not working on the NTG2 initially, because the channel matrix was wrong in vMix. That's why I didn't catch that right away. I thought it was working when it wasn't. And I only saw that kind of after the fact. And then I realized, it's because the actual channel matrix is not set up correctly. So now it's working right. Left and right is good to go. But then apparently Angus won't listen to the show if I use the NTG2 over the over the RE20. Well, my brain just had hang on, sort these thoughts for a second. So yeah, apparently Angus does not like the NTG2 sound over the RE20. And Judson threw out there that the 320 is the clearly the king winner of all of these discussions, and yet he has yet to make any sort of valid point why the 320 is better. So I don't know if he was saying that in regards to the RE20 or just the NTG2. But what I need now is a super long shotgun microphone, like the NTG8. If you don't know what that is, look that up. It's ridiculous, but it's $1,000, and I really can't justify paying that sort of money for a microphone that is pretty much just a gimmick for me. But I could mount it up and right close to me. The question is, where do I mount this shotgun microphone that it's out of the way, but it gets really close, really clean audio? And I think the way to do it is to frame. Let's go over to Studio Monitor real quick. So I think the way to do it correctly is to frame this shot. I'm a little bit low in this picture. So let's pull up P4K. Let's change this over to low bandwidth just because we don't need 140 megs for this. All right, so we just frame this shot quite low like this. And then we take the NTG2 and we put it right here, And maybe when I use NTG2 and then I don't wear a hat. Maybe that's how that goes. It was totally doable, by the way, because this boom arm is ridiculously long. So there'd be no problem. Maybe I'll test that after the show, and then we'll try it again. And maybe Angus won't, maybe his ears won't bleed the next time we use it. Because clearly it was undesirable. No shotgun mics. Correct. The NTG2 is quite unacceptable. I'm glad you agree with me that you like the RE20. I like it too. What was... Shoot, the other day we had talked about the NDI audio channels getting converted, or audio channels getting converted into NDI in vMix. That was with Jake. That's the way. That's what I want to do. So we could generate, in settings, because I want to see it inside Studio Monitor. So you can go to settings. Wait, what happened there? There we go. Settings, audio outputs. Oh, I'm sorry. Outputs, audio outputs, NDI on. and hit OK. Does it require me to restart vMix? It does. Don't restart vMix. End the show abruptly. So then if I turn the audio outputs into NDI, then I could, well, then I could do a bunch of stuff, actually. Okay, so now my brain is functioning. Do one of these outdoors, and I'll accept the NTG2 quite happily. You just don't like the, what is it? Is it that you don't like the room audio, like the bounce effect of the hard walls? Because maybe then what I do is I put up sound absorption on these walls and see how that goes. I have lots of styrofoam. You could just wear a Rode Go if you don't want to see mics. I have a Rode Go and a lav mic. It's true. I definitely could do that. You definitely hear more of the room, though. Like, it's not this. 100% it's not this. And I love the way that this microphone sounds. The RE20 hides the acoustics of the room so effectively. That's exactly the issue. Boom. I would agree. It really is. And because it's so close to my mouth, I don't have to turn it up to 11, which I have to do on the NTG2. Again, unless I could get it closer, just off frame, extremely close. Extremely close. There's got to be a way. I've been watching, occasionally I watch a show called Office Hours, which somebody on this show tipped me off to. So I was watching it. Well, at the end of every show, their post outro is them whispering to each other. It's so funny. I love it. I did send in a comment to, they were talking about AV networking. And so my question for them was, with the Netgear 4250 Pro NDI5 profile, what changes would you make to the multicast settings? And I was like, ooh, I can't wait to hear what these networking guys say. And only one person put up their hand, and it was integrated from Texas. And he's like, you don't need to change anything. It works great. They're like, great, next question. And I was like, oh, that's just as good as saying, we don't know. We've never changed anything on there. So that was sad. I was hoping for something useful. I was denied. I thought I was being clever by asking a very intricate question. They were like, meh, it's good enough. Dang it, that's not what I wanted. But they're experts in a lot of things, and so to know this like niche question, okay, fine. Maybe not. Maybe you're not going to know, but it was sad that they didn't have anything to contribute to that. Whoops. I'm just reading through. Yes, fathead stickers. Let's do that. Yes, and Jess agrees. Done. Jess said that we can do it, so we're totally going to do it. I'm excited about that. All right. Well, let me jump back to the chat real quick, just catch up on what's going on. The room sounds fine on a lav. Shotgun mics in reflective spaces are just extra awful. Fair enough. Hi, is there a definite answer to the question on what to choose for NDI between UDP, RUDP, TCP, etc.? Like a one-size-fits-all? No. That I would suggest that it highly depends on what your network is up to, what else you got going on. Personally, from a stability standpoint, I still really like TCP, but that only works with a couple of sources. Once you get beyond a couple of sources, then don't use UDP. RUDP is fine for the NDI5 realm, and if you're not in NDI5 yet, then multicast is your answer. So it really depends because, and like what sort of switch? Are we talking about a Netgear 4250? Are we talking about a Cisco 350? Are we talking about a TP-Link unmanaged? You know, like there's so many other things to consider. And how's it going, Wilton? Good to see you. There's so many other things to consider when you ask that question that I would strongly recommend. The way to think about that question is what else is going on my network. That will definitely dictate how I need to configure my network. Now, in a perfect world, you'd have an AV switch, you'd have a 4250, you'd be running the NDI5 profile, multicast would already be enabled, and you would switch to multicast when you got over 4 to 5 sources. I think that that's a reasonable expectation and promotes the highest efficiency when it comes to actual packet transfer. But if you're just a small operation, you got 3 cameras and a keyboard, and you're running gunning it, and you have a managed switch, please stay clear of unmanaged switches. Scenario A, Netgear 4250. So yeah, the NDI5 profile on the latest firmware updates is really rock solid when it comes to TCP or multicast. So if you're exceeding the TCP limits of a 1 gig network, then definitely navigate into the multicast realm. It comes with trade-offs too. It's not a perfect world, but at least it's not over-generating NDI signals. And that really, the benefits there are really when you're going to multiple decoders. And so if you're going everything into vMix, it doesn't really make a whole lot of difference. You're going to need a robust network to do that. But the Unified Dream Machine Pro, that you're going to be limited with multicast. And so you're pretty much going to need to do unicast, and RUDP or TCP is probably going to be your only way. Multicast kind of works in Unify, but they haven't really sorted that out to where I could tell you the configuration is rock solid. Some people are doing it. Judson loves unicast. He's on here under Quincy Owens or Sound Church. And he uses Unify all the time. So it's not to say that it can't be done, not to say that multicast can't be done. I'm just not super confident on how to get it done. I would prefer for Unicast to come, or Unify to come out with a multicast configuration, and then we could test it and confidently say, yes, do it this way. So Dream Machine, RUDP is probably your flexibility. TCP is still your go-to. 4250s, TCP is your go-to for a small integration. And then when you get beyond, let's say 5 or 6 decoders, well, let's say, maybe 5 decoders, then you're looking at probably needing to do multicast anyways. Multiple destinations from single sources, especially, you're looking at multicast, okay? That's the easiest way to do this. Sorry if this was covered yet. Is Flex going to get NDI5 update anytime soon? Flex will... What do you mean by anytime soon? It's not top of the list, no. I think it's supposed to go to NDI5 with the NDI5 converters, but the first is 4K family. But Flex should be getting NDI5. So I just don't know about anytime soon. I don't know if that's a subjective term. We should see it in the future for sure, but I do know that they're working on 4K family first. So there you go. I'm pretty sure you will be seeing NDI5 coming to that. Now, I don't believe Silicon 2 is coming to Flex. So that's a different thing than NDI5. But I don't think it's on the Silicon website that it's coming to Flex. So you can double check that if you want. Actually, I can do that for you. BirdDog TV, Silicon 2 is just SIL2. Nope. Products. Where is the Silicon 2 page? Where's the Silicon 2 page? Oh, here it is. About us, Silicon 2. So Silicon 2, HD cameras and 4K family. That's what's listed on here right now. So, there you go. Awesome. Okay, folks. Well, it is 1:45, which means that I probably need to figure out why my phone is buzzing so much and get on with the rest of the week. It has been a pleasure to have you here on the show. Thank you so much for stopping by. There has been a handful of you guys cycling in and out over the course of today's show. And if you're on LinkedIn, I actually don't know how many of you are hanging out over there, but the best place to watch this show, the number one place, is birddogjohn.tv. So if you're not a subscriber to that channel yet, go ahead, link up with your YouTube account or however it is that you cruise YouTube, and follow us over there. That would help me out big time, actually, because that shows to my bosses that this thing is a real deal and helps validate what it is that we're doing over there. Last I checked, we had like 220 subscribers. Yep, 220. That's pretty exciting. So if you haven't subscribed to that yet, please do. That would mean the world to me, and we'd be able to keep this show relevant and on the go. But anytime I do anything in this studio, it goes on that site. So you can just set your notifications to whatever you like through YouTube for that channel, and you'll find out when we go live. I have it set, my personal BirdDog account, I mean, I've been following it for a long time, has, notifications to my phone. And so when it goes live, when I say go live, then it shows up on my phone and I'm able to follow it directly there. So it's super handy. If you hit that bell, you'll get the notifications, but subscribing is super helpful for me just because I can prove, hey, we're doing stuff here. So good times. Infocom, BirdDog will be at Infocom. I will not. I haven't been sent to the shows here this year, but there will be a representation of BirdDog at Infocom. So if you're headed there, definitely check that out. Is Open Gear considered part of the 4K family? Open Gear is kind of a sidecar of the 4K family. So let me look, because I think it says all 4K Pro converters. That's a great question. I don't know. It doesn't say explicitly OG4, but Silicon 2 is a free update that will work with all cameras and all Pro converters. Yeah, we need to specify because it's not called Open Gear Pro. So I don't know. That I don't know. I can find out for you, though. Let me send a little message over to my team. And just see what people say. I will know on Tuesday, 100%. So come back on Tuesday, and I'll let you know. But maybe ask me that question again, NetHab, because I'm definitely going to forget between now and then. There's a few things that are going to happen between now and then. So I am not traveling this weekend. I actually get to stay home, and well, I guess I'm helping the church on Sunday, but I'm staying home this weekend. So I think we're going to try and plant some trees. Actually, that'll be fun. Hopefully, I don't kill them. But yeah, plant some trees and. It'll be good. I think we might go to a nursery or something like that and buy some plants for the garden. It's promised from my wife for Mother's Day, so she's going to get to do a little shopping, and that'll be fun. We'll take the kids, make a day of it. Anyways, I hope you guys are having a great end to your week. And if you need assistance from BirdDog at all, hit us up at help@birddog.tv. This is our ticketing system, and this is the fastest way to get a hold of a ticketing agent if you've got a question about a BirdDog product. So please shoot us a message, and we'd be happy to get you some help. Even if it's just, I don't know where to send this question, I'll send it to the help desk. We can route that to the right person. Okay, so consider us a resource. We love to help people. We do this for a living, and we'll do what we can to make it happen for you. So hit us up over at help@birddog.tv. Don't forget to subscribe to birddogjohn.tv. Be greatly appreciated. And of course, Tuesday, Thursdays from 11 to at least 12 o'clock, we are right here on this channel at birddogjohn.tv doing a live show, answering your questions, talking about all sorts of stuff. Yeah, it's kind of an open plate. We try and keep it to the production realm, to NDI, to BirdDog, that sort of stuff. But hey, we can chat about, sometimes we talk about audio, sometimes we talk about video, we talk about switching, we talk about production, one-man bands. That's what I do here. Nobody produces this show. This is just me. What you see is what you get right now, and currently not big enough to do anything more. So we're definitely having more people on the show, though. As you see, we're doing a few more focused topics, and so it's not just kind of shooting from the hip, which it was for a while there. But feel free to join us. It's always a good time. Subscribe to the show if you can, and that'll let you know when we're going live. But Tuesday, Thursdays, right now from 11 o'clock, which is an hour and a half ago, usually into the 12 o'clock hour, somewhere in there, we hang out. So bring your questions, bring your friends and family, and we'll definitely have a chat with you over that period of time. All right, guys, take care of yourselves out there. It is going to be a warmer weekend here in Michigan, so we're really excited. We had a frost advisory last night, so we had to cover up all of our plants. But hey, no more of that. We're into the spring months, and I'm looking forward to some warmer days. So take care of yourselves out there. Have a great weekend. Take care of each other. And we will see you in just a very few days after the weekend. Have a good one. We'll talk to you soon. Take care, guys. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Serenity now, insanity later.